Gökberk Demirci had always believed that silence had a sound. The rustle of leaves in the wind, the distant hum of bees over wildflowers, the whisper of a river curling around smooth stones. Growing up in his midst, surrounded by both the pulse of the city and the stillness of nature, he found himself drawn more to the latter. Even as a child, when other kids rushed toward crowded playgrounds or bustling markets, Gökberk preferred the quiet company of trees and open fields. For Gökberk, nature wasn't just a backdrop. It was a living teacher. When he began his acting career, the chaos of long hours, bright lights, and constant attention often left him restless. But whenever he could, he would escape to the outskirts of the city, drive for hours just to find a trail, a lake, or even a small forest. "You can't pretend to be calm," he once told a friend, "unless you spend time in a place that really is." He often said that his love for nature was connected to his love for authenticity. Acting, to him, was about finding truth within illusion. But where he stood in a forest or beside a river, there was no illusion, just pure existence. Trees didn't pretend to be anything other than what they were. The grass didn't rush. The sky didn't perform. When he portrayed emotion on screen, he tried to channel the raw, unfiltered sincerity of nature, something pure, patient, and deeply real. In interviews, Gökberk often spoke about how nature influenced his creative process. Before big projects, he would spend a day outdoors, walking, meditating, or simply observing. "It's not about escaping life," he said once. "It's about returning to it." People said he had the aura of someone who knew peace, but had walked through storms to find it. His love for greenery wasn't limited to grand landscapes. Even in the city, he surrounded himself with plants. He cared for them personally, watering them every morning, talking to them sometimes as if they were friends. To him, every small act of tending to life, even a single plant, was a kind of meditation. "It teaches patience," he once said, smiling. "You can't rush growth. You just have to care consistently and trust that beauty takes time." There was one story that captured this side of him perfectly. During a break from filming a series, the crew had taken over a rural area outside Istanbul. The land was dry and neglected, with a few struggling trees around. Gökberk noticed it immediately. One morning, while others prepared scenes, he picked up a watering can and began tending to a wilted tree beside the set. Every day during the shoot, he returned to it. By the end of the production, new leaves had begun to sprout. "It's a small thing," he said later, "but I think every bit of life we help matters." Gökberk's tree. His relationship with nature also reflected his deeper philosophy, balance. In a world where everything moves too fast, he saw greenery as the ultimate reminder to slow down. Whenever stress or exhaustion threatened to overtake him, he chose simplicity. Instead of luxury vacations, he preferred hiking trails, forest cabins, or time spent near the sea. He didn't need glitter to feel alive, only sunlight and space to think. He often posted pictures of such moments on social media. Not fame or red carpets, but of misty hills, rain-drenched leaves, or birds gliding over calm waters. Fans noticed that his captions were always reflective, almost poetic. Words about growth, healing, and gratitude. They took him on picnics, forest walks, and long countryside drives. His father taught him to plant trees and care for gardens, lessons he carried with him throughout life. To him, every tree held memory, a connection to family, to childhood, and to the people who taught him to look at the world with wonder instead of haste. When fame arrived, Gökberk's love for nature deepened rather than faded. The more attention surrounded him, the more he sought peace in places where no one knew his name. He would often disappear into remote parts of Turkey, visiting lakes like Sapanca or hiking in the forests of Bolu. Nature became his sanctuary, the one place where he could exist without performance. No cameras, no lines, no expectations, just in the earth and silence. "In the city," he once said, "you're always part of." On set, he was focused, serious, often quiet. But in nature, he was lighter, laughing more, exploring like a curious child. He'd climb rocks, wade into rivers, or sit for hours just watching clouds. One friend described him as a man who turns younger the further he walks into the forest. To him, being surrounded by green reminded him of what it meant to be alive, to feel wonder again, to breathe without hurry, to exist without filters. Over time, this love for greenery began to influence not only his personal life, but also his public image. Fans started to associate him with nature, the calm actor who preferred forests over fame, sincerity over spectacle. Though he wasn't one to seek publicity, he quietly supported several such causes, emphasizing that nature shouldn't be something to visit, but something to protect. He believed that art and nature were connected, both giving life to the soul in different ways. "My window," he said, "I think peace has a color, and for me it's green." He imagined raising a family there someday, teaching children not just ambition, but appreciation, the ability to find beauty in silence and meaning in simplicity. That vision wasn't about escape. Gökberk never saw nature as a way to run from the world, but as a way to stay connected to it. He believed that the closer you are to nature, the more you understand life, its cycles, its patience, its resilience. He compared it often to acting. "A tree doesn't bloom every season," he once said. "It rests, it waits, but when it does bloom, it does so fully." I think people should learn from that. As his career continued to grow, Gökberk found new ways to blend his love for nature with his artistry. He began exploring roles that spoke to environmental awareness or human connection with the earth. He also expressed interest in producing short films that captured the quiet relationship between people and the natural world. Stories that didn't just entertain, but reminded audiences of what they were part of. Friends say that even when traveling abroad, he seeks nature first. No matter how tight a schedule, he finds time to explore a park, a mountain trail, a riverbank. "You can't really understand a place," he says, "until you've walked its earth." He photographs trees, skies, and paths, not for fame, but for memory. To him, these small pieces of nature are like fragments of peace he carries with him, reminders that beauty exists everywhere if you take the time to notice. Perhaps the reason Gökberk's love for nature feels so genuine is that it mirrors his personality, steady, humble, and quietly strong. He doesn't chase attention. He lets it come naturally, like sunlight through branches. He doesn't force success. He nurtures it patiently, like a gardener waiting for the first bloom. And he doesn't lose himself in fame. He roots himself in gratitude, always returning to where he feels most human, under open skies, surrounded by green. In the end, for Gökberk Demirci, nature is not just a passion. It's part of his identity. It's the compass that guides his choices, the peace that balances his ambition, and the language through which he understands the world.